Hey everyone, and welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So every single month, the 70 plus million recipients of Social Security receive their payments on time. However, this month there were some people who did not receive a single payment. We'll be going over who those people are and why, as well as the payment schedule over the next couple of months. Also, there's some huge discussions going on in Washington revolving the change of Social Security to make it solvent for a longer period of time. Right now, they're looking at 2033 or 2034, where there could potentially be cuts in benefits of up to 25%. So we're going to be looking at one clip of a video of a senator discussing the plan that they are currently getting at. Now, before I go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so with the presidential race beginning to heat up a little bit, at least in the Republican primary, if you had any doubts of whether or not Governor of Florida Ron DeSantis was going to ever throw his hat into the ring, those thoughts have pretty much been confirmed, because this article from The Hill says Florida bill allowing DeSantis to stay governor and run for president heads to his desk. So this is pretty much a huge confirmation if they're going to have a bill now which will allow him to stay governor at the same time as running for president. That pretty much confirms everything. So the Florida House approved a bill on Friday that would allow Governor Ron DeSantis to remain as governor if he chooses to run for president in 2024, sitting it to his desk for his signature. The bill passed 76-34 on a party line vote after passing the state Senate, also along party lines on Wednesday, 28-12. Florida election law states that anyone running for an office needs to step down from a position they hold once they are officially a candidate. If signed, the bill would create an exception that the law would not apply to officials running for president or vice president. DeSantis has not formally announced if he is considering a run for the GOP nomination for president in 2024, but he is widely speculated to enter the race soon. Supporters of the bill have said it is not designed for DeSantis and is only a clarification, while Democrats slammed it as a way to ensure DeSantis can remain as governor while running for president. And that's pretty much what it is. Normally, under normal circumstances, DeSantis would have had to step down from governor to run for president. Right now, it is going to either be him or Trump, more than likely as the Republican candidate. But by this bill passing, DeSantis will get to keep his role as governor while running for president. A lot of people may not be happy about that because it's going to be very hard to stay focused on his job as governor while at the same time running for president, which is pretty much a full-time job. But it is what it is. He should be able to kind of carry out his normal duties as governor, sign bills as they are passed into law, everything like that. But a lot of people are going to say that it is a distraction. Now, in some other news, as I mentioned earlier on in today's video, every single month, the 70 plus million recipients of Social Security receive their payments as normal. However, there were some people who did not receive a single payment, and those people were recipients of SSI benefits. Now, they actually did technically receive an April payment, but they just did not receive a payment in April, simply because their payment that would have normally have come on April 1st was actually delivered a little bit earlier on the last day of March. So their last day of March payment was actually their payment that would have come on April 1st. Now, next Monday on May 1st, SSI recipients are once again going to be receiving a payment that's going to be on May 1st. And then looking ahead to June, they're also going to be receiving a payment on June 1st, but they're actually going to be receiving double payments in June. So on June 30th, the last day of the month, they're going to be receiving their second payment, and that's simply just going to be their July payment. So in July, just like in March, there's not going to be a single payment going out to recipients of SSI. Now, also looking ahead to the May schedule on May 3rd, people who received Social Security before May of 1997, or those who receive both Social Security and SSI, those payments are going to be going out on the 3rd. And then for SSI recipients, once again, it's going to be on May 1st. Then on May 10th, it's going to be going to those recipients with birthdays between the 1st and the 10th of any given month. And then on the 17th of May, it's going to be going to those with birthdays between the 11th and 20th of any given month. And then finally, on May 24th, it's going to be going to those with birthdays between the 21st and 31st of any given month. So those are going to be the payment dates coming up over the next few months. And again, it's going to be finally recipients of SSI are going to be receiving a payment on May 1st. And then again on June, in the month of June, SSI recipients are going to be receiving 2 payments. So that's some pretty good stuff there. Now also coming up in May and June in the months ahead, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are going to have to finally get together and solve this whole debt ceiling issue. Right now, Republicans are saying they are not going to be raising the debt ceiling unless there are some spending cuts attached. Democrats, on the other hand, are saying for the most part that they are not going to agree to any spending cuts, that they are going to just raise the debt ceiling and raise the debt ceiling alone. They're not going to agree to any cuts in order to raise the debt ceiling. Now, there are some more moderate Democrats that lean more towards the middle who are saying that, in fact, President Biden should be meeting up with Kevin McCarthy and reaching some sort of an agreement, that this whole foolishness of not reaching across the aisle to speak with the other party just doesn't make a lot of sense. So here is one Democrat making his case why McCarthy and Biden and Democrats and Republicans should come together and work out some sort of an agreement.
It seems clear that you think the White House position, which is we're not going to negotiate, is unsustainable.
Listen, Joe Biden has shown his entire career, it's why he's president, that he is someone who will always negotiate, he'll always talk. And so, listen, I have faith that Joe Biden and the speaker will sit down and we'll talk. I just think that, in D.C. we should always be talking. We should never say we're not going to speak to folks across the aisle. I don't think that's a sustainable position.
So you say the White House's position right now, because the president has said, I'll talk to him about the budget, but I'm not going to talk to him about attaching concessions to this. And that has still been his position right now, saying he's not going to negotiate. So you are saying that is unsustainable.
Yeah, and that's been my position from the beginning. I always think that the President of the United States and the Speaker should always be talking.
Now, other than the whole debt ceiling discussion that's going to be going on and has to be solved by early on this summer, there's also a whole debate going on over Social Security, and we're going to be seeing this debate go on over the rest of this year, probably next year, and maybe even over the next 10 years if nothing gets done. Now, if they never get anything done by 2033, at that point, if you're receiving Social Security, whatever you're receiving for your benefit, that's going to be cut by 20 to 25%, which quite frankly would be pretty unacceptable. Now, there's actually a bipartisan group of lawmakers in Congress right now who they're trying to create some sort of a plan, but without any backing from both Democrats and Republicans, it's going to be very hard for them to get this passed. But they are trying to come together to work out something that is bipartisan. So I'm going to be playing a short clip. This is one of the leaders of this group, and he's going to be discussing this plan. Watch.
I also want to talk to you about something that you have decided to touch, which is the third rail of American politics and Social Security. And before I ask you about it, I want to play this ad that Donald Trump is running against Ron DeSantis on this issue. Take a look.
DeSantis has his dirty fingers all over senior entitlements, like cutting Medicare, slashing Social Security, even raising our retirement age.
How much harder is the former president and, frankly, most now Republican elected officials who are suddenly running away from touching anything with Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid? How much harder is this making your job of trying to convince Republicans to have this conversation?
You know, both Joe Biden and former President Trump have the same plan, which is to do nothing on Social Security and to allow a 24% cut to benefits when the fund goes insolvent in about 8 or 9 years. They both have the same plan. It does make it harder. When your leading presidential candidates have made the decision to deceive the American people and to say there isn't a problem, when every actuary who looks at this says that there is a problem, and someone who's currently receiving 80 years old, otherwise would be in poverty, will get a 24% cut in their benefits by current law, it makes it very hard when they are so irresponsible. It's true for President Biden. It's true for former President Trump.
Let me ask you, in this effort to get reform, are you open to tax hikes? I mean, it's going to have to be some combination of tax hikes and probably raising the retirement age.
What we have is a big idea. And in our big idea, we create a fund which is separate from Social Security. We put about $1.5 trillion in it, and we allow it to be invested in the nation's economy. There's no risk borne by the beneficiary, and there's no Social Security dollars put into this separate fund. And we allow it to sit there, and we allow it to grow. And at the end, it helps bridge Social Security to sustainability. All the risk is borne by the fund. Now, what you do in the additional 25%, that is 75% of what we need to do. The additional 25% are dials that politically we have to come together and resolve. If one side proposes something, the other side will demagogue it. We see Trump and we see Biden demagoguing it now. We need honesty with the American people, but we have a big idea that solves 75% of the problem, and that's a pretty good idea.
So as you can see, he discusses a little bit of what's in their plan. Right now, it is just a proposal. It has not even worked its way into a bill yet. And again, this is just a proposal. They would need to have enough Republicans and Democrats get on board with this for it to pass in the House with at least 218 votes, and then in the Senate with at least 60 votes, which of course will be no easy feat. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.